This is gonna be an interesting video. There's no advice in this video. I am warning you now. This video is purely so you can understand the player's handbook. Player tutorial 101. Literally, I'm just gonna be sharing with you how players operate in the dating world and how they play the game. So if you end up dating a player or, dating a guy who maybe a lot of other girls like, this is how they move. So I guess this is still somewhat valuable advice and insight, because if you know how your enemy plays, then you know how to play your enemy. Not that men are your enemy, but you know what I mean. So this is how he works. First, we need to establish that a guy who is a player is a guy who has options. And let's be real, we've heard people having a rota of people that they are dating. I mean, some of you ladies have a rota. You have a guy who pays your rent, you have the guy who you have sex with, you have the guy who flies you out on holiday, you have the guy who, I don't know, delivers your food. You guys have a rota for different things sometimes. Whereas a guy who is a player, he just has a rota of girls that he has sex with. Because men in general, and especially players, love sexual variety. They always have, they always will. So imagine that he's got a rota, okay? He's got girl 1, girl 2, girl 3. Girl 1 is the girl that he probably has sex with the most. Maybe he sees her a couple of times a week. Girl 2, he probably has sex with her maybe once every couple of weeks. That's when he sees her. And girl 3, it's kind of on and off, but girl 3 is more once a month, maybe even once every 2 months. So he has a rota of these 3 girls, right? And he's having sex with them all at different frequencies, different consistencies. Now he knows, and this is what most commonly happens, but he knows that when you're having sex with a girl consistently over a certain period of time, anywhere between 2 to 4 to 5 months, she's gonna start develop feelings for you. She's gonna start getting emotionally attached, which is completely normal. Ladies, it is completely normal and completely justified for you to start to get feelings for a guy that you've been having sex with consistently for a certain period of time. But he knows that generally this is the way it goes. So what happens is, yes, he has girl 1, 2, and 3, but he also has a girl in reserve. Now, who is this girl in reserve? This isn't a girl that he's having sex with. This is a girl that he's just watering the seed. Slowly injecting sexual nuance, slowly playing up to the chemistry, slowly building that sexual tension. He's basically preparing to add this girl to the rota. And what I mean is this: maybe he goes on a date with her, maybe he texts her here, texts her there. He's not constantly hot on her heels. And the thing is, because he's not, really hot on her heels, because most girls, especially attractive girls, are so used to guys trying to text them all the time, trying to see them all the time, trying to date them all the time. Because he's very chilled and he's very cool about it, that makes her go, oh, well, if he texts me, that is really cool because he's not desperate to have me like all these other thirsty guys. So it makes him seem more valuable than the guys that she's surrounded by. So of course, she's gonna favor him. Now to her, he's just very chilled, right? But for him, it's not that he's not chilled, but his time is preoccupied by 3 other women. So girl 4 is in reserve and he's just watering that seed. Girl 1, 2, and 3 are in play and girl 4 is on the bench. Then, between 2 to 4 months, girl 1 starts to get a bit emotionally attached and he starts to sense this. And the thing is, one thing we have to understand about players, part of the reason that allows them to move like this is because they are usually very emotionally intelligent, especially when it comes to dealing with women. So they can start to sense when a girl starts to get emotionally attached, even if she's not actually saying anything. So he'll start to notice things like when she cuddles him, she'll hold him that little bit too tight, or she starts to mention about seeing her friends with him, maybe seeing her family with him, maybe starts to try and make future plans for things that are 2, 3, 4 months down the line. And him registering all this stuff is when he goes, okay, it's time to clock out. Anywhere between 2 to 5 months, girl 1 will start to get feelings for him. He realizes this, and then he'll either he'll ghost her, or he'll say to her, hey, look, we had some fun, but I really don't think this is for me anymore. And of course, he's doing it because he knows he doesn't want anything serious and that she's starting to get feelings for him. So he cuts it off. So what happens next? Well, everybody gets promoted. Girl 2 becomes girl 1. Girl 3 becomes girl 2. And Susie, who was in reserve, is now added to the rota. He starts having sex with her. And of course, because he wasn't trying to rush to have sex with Miss Susie, who's in reserve, I don't know why I've given her the name of Susie, but that's her name. Because he wasn't rushing to have sex with her, because he took his time trying to have sex with her, and obviously most girls are so used to guys trying to have sex with them straight away, she's like, wow, when we do have sex, it's gonna be amazing, or it's so cool that we've started to do that, because to her, you've built this whole kind of foundation before you started having sex. So everyone's been promoted. Girl 2 is now girl 1, girl 3 is now girl 2, Susie is now girl 3. So now he has a free spot in reserve. So what happens? It all starts again. Now the new girl 1, who maybe had only been on the rota for maybe a month or so, now he's having sex with her more consistently. He's having more consistent fun with her for the next few months. Girl 2 will take the few months after that, girl 3 will take the few months after that, and so on. It's just every few months, girl 1 is let go and everybody gets promoted. And of course, the reason that there's a time span in being girl 1 is because usually girls start to get feelings after a few months if they're having sex with a guy pretty consistently. And every time there's a spot open in reserve, he just finds another girl and he just starts to subtly water that seed, getting to know her, flirts with her subtly. Like, let me give you a perfect example so you can recognize exactly how it's done. Imagine this, you go to the gym, right? And there's a really attractive guy there. And you guys make eye contact, but nothing's said. The next couple of times you go to the gym, you're both there, and then he actually does say, oh, hey, I see that you're new here. And you're like, yeah, I just moved to this gym, or I moved around the corner or whatever. And all he says is,
Okay, cool. Well, if you need any help, let me know.
and then he just walks off. And for you, you're like, oh, wait, usually when guys approach me, they're usually hitting on me, but he just offered help and then left. And immediately that makes him more desirable than the average guy because he's not trying to take you out immediately. He's not trying to date you straight away. So the following week, you're both there, you have a bit more of a conversation, you're engaging a little bit more, you find out what he does, you find out what you do. And for you, it's like, wow, it's really nice to just meet a guy who's not trying to get in my pants straight away, who you can just chat to and you can just engage in, and yeah, maybe there's some chemistry there, but he's not trying to stamp a hammer on it. But of course, in the back of your mind, you go, but he's an attractive guy, and you like to think you're an attractive girl, so is he ever gonna ask you out? And you start to wonder this. So as you start to engage a bit more with him, you do wonder if he's starting to like you. So further down the line, when it's been a few weeks and he goes, oh, hey, just so you know, I'm gonna go get a drink this Friday, you're more than welcome to come, you're gonna naturally wanna jump on that because it's almost feeling like you've been waiting for him to ask you. And those few weeks leading up to that moment was him watering the seed. The seed as a girl who's in reserve. So the question is, how do you know when you are dealing with a player? Well, I have a video on not just how a player moves when it comes to sex, but also the different types of players, but also how to date a player in a way that leads him to choosing you and only you. A lot of women tend to think that guys date the same way they do, and they don't. Just because you're exclusive to a guy when you're getting to know him and you start seeing him doesn't mean that he's exclusive to you. And 9 times out of 10, he usually isn't. A guy is only exclusive to you if you have both communicated that you are entering into a committed, exclusive relationship, i.e., you're his girlfriend, he's your boyfriend. Until that happens, he is not exclusive to you. Now, why am I sharing all of this with you? It's not so that you can hate guys, it's just so you understand how the game is played. Now, one thing I always say when you're dealing with a guy that you like, right, which is gonna stop him playing this game with you, is you have to make him make a decision. If you've been seeing him for 2 or 3 months, and let's say there's a chance that you are one of the girls on his rota, you have to make him decide it's either me and we're in a committed relationship, or you walk. And you doing this immediately makes you more valuable to him because you'll be the only one doing it out of the other girls that he may be dealing with, because the other girls won't be doing it. So I hope that's helped you kind of give an insight into the player's mind. And if you're looking for a guy who sparks up your love life, make sure you subscribe to this wonderful tribe. And as always, keep it slick.
How?